Hello and welcome. Today I want to go over how we work out our return on investment when it comes to property investing. Using this new sort of spreadsheet because I want to simplify it as much as I can. So we'll go over a couple of examples. I want to do buy-to-let, Buy-Refurbish-Refinance, and we'll quickly look at the flip numbers as well so we can look at returns. So this is the buy-to-let one, the most simple one. That'll be for the Buy-Refurbish-Refinance. So the simple way of working out the return, I do have calculators down here, such as buy-to-let, which if you do want these so you can have a more advanced version, please do let me know, and hopefully I can get something sent over to you. But again, want to simplify as much as I can. So the formula to work out your buy-to-let and Buy-Refurbish-Refinance, and kind of your other ones as well, but mainly them two, is your net money in. Okay, and this is the annual net money in, by the way, because you're working out an annual return. So the net money in divided by the net money out. Okay, and it's net, by the way. So the way you work out yield is your annual income divided by your overall funds on the property. So if you were to buy a house for £100,000 and it makes £10,000 a year, your yield would be the 10 divided by the 100, which quite obviously is 10% yield. It doesn't take into account refurb costs, holding costs, buying costs, anything. It doesn't take into account mortgages as well. So that is more of a gross figure. So we're working out the return on our investments. The net in is the income, as I said, annualized. But what we need to work out first is the net monthly income. So we need to take into account the mortgage, the insurance costs, the management costs. On my calculator, I also take into account some maintenance costs, as you can see. So I also put that to the side just to be conservative with my figure. You can use 5%, 10%, whatever numbers you want. But on this one, we're not going to use that. So we're just going to use the definites in terms of what goes out when you're working out your net income. And then we'll divide by the net out. The net out, we're taking into account we're buying mortgage. Deposit, if you're buying 100% cash, would just be the purchase price, I guess. But that's still technically a deposit for the property. The whole thing is a deposit. You've got your mortgage in terms of net out. Which is your actually no, you don't on this one. Deposit, buying costs, refurb costs. So there's nice three easy figures that we need to work out, which is our net money out. So if we start with 100 grand in our bank and the deposit is 25, buying costs are 10, refurb costs are 10. Our net out means that it's the £100,000 in our bank. It goes down 25, it goes down another 10, and it goes down another 10. We have 55 grand left in our bank. So we've spent 45. Okay, we'll use this as an example. So our net out on this, as we've just said, £45,000. So this house is a £100,000 house, hence 25,000, and we've spent £45,000 to hold on to that asset. In terms of the net in, a house that's worth around, well, we'd hope that this was worth around 120 potentially, because that's what we've spent, I guess, and we've added 10k to the refurb, and hopefully we've added value. So let's say it's a £120,000 house that we've bought at a good price. The income on that property would be anywhere between 750 and 800. So let's use 750 as a figure. Mortgage on a £100,000 mortgage, so £75,000 in terms of the loan, would be roughly around maybe 320, give or take. Not working anything out. We're at 5% in today's market, maybe about 320. Insurance, you're looking roughly about £20 a month. That can be more or less depending on who you go with and what sort of terms are needed from the lender, but around £20. And then the management costs are £75, usually your 10% of the income. So our monthly net income equals 750, take away our mortgage, take away our insurance, and take away our management costs. So we get a monthly net of 335. So our annual net return equals that figure times 12. So we make just over £4,000 a year. in terms of in our pocket. Appreciate this is pre-tax. If it's into a company, obviously you'll have an accountant that you'll deal with that will work things out and talk to you about that, but I'm not in a position to give you certain financial advice, which is therefore we're talking this pre-tax. So annual net 4,020. The net out is 45. That figure is that figure, so that doesn't really change. So if we were to work out the return, we do the annual net in, we divide it by the amount out. So this return would be 8.93%, which is a good deal, hopefully. So if we were to purchase this property, we would make 8.93% on our money. Bear in mind, this figure also is purely on the income. Okay, this doesn't take into account the other two ways of making money in property. So you've got annual income through the rent, you've got rental growth. So whilst this makes 335 per month this year, when the rent goes up next year, that will move up to 370 potentially. Okay, so that doesn't take into account the rental growth. And if that does go to 370, obviously that increases quite nicely. And that goes up and up and up. So it doesn't take into account to that. And it also doesn't take into account that this property will hopefully go up in value. If it goes up 5% next year, then that figure technically becomes £10,000, which is a 22%. But obviously that doesn't go back into the bank. When the capital growth goes up on a property, or when a property goes up due to capital growth, all that means is there's an increase in the asset growth. So you don't make money, but you make money tomorrow, if that makes sense. So we're only taking into account the annual income percentage. If you want me to do another video and take into account capital growth, rental growth, and we can look at portfolios, we can look at properties in general, take into account all of them, let me know and we can look into doing a video like that. Okay, so that is buy to let. Just to reiterate, the net in, which we've worked out to be £335 a month, which is just over £4,000 a year. The net in is the income per month, take off the monthly mortgage, take off insurance, take off management costs, unless you're looking after it yourself, which adds quite a bit, by the way. And that's the monthly net, times by 12, you've got your annual net income. Divided by, so net in divided by the net out, which is your deposit on the property, your buying costs, and then your refurb costs. Okay, if we just quickly jump over to this, we can see that in a bit more detail, you've got, in terms of buying costs, you've got solicitor, broker and survey, stamp duty, potentially a sourcing fee, potentially not. So deposit, buying costs and stamp duty, which as we said, £10,000, and then refurb. So we've actually used these figures on this calculator as well. And as you can see, this is 45,000, and then this annual income is including the maintenance. So just bear that in mind on this one. So it's a little bit lower, but 8% on this compared to what we've used, which is 8.93. Okay, so let's quickly go over BRR as well. So BRR is a very, very similar figure, but there's a couple of things that we need to pay attention to with this simplified calculator. Number one is the mortgage. So when you're doing a buy-refurbish-refinance, your mortgage in this column is the mortgage on the higher value, which the higher value would be, so this is based on £75,000 mortgage in terms of 320. When we're refinancing, so this house is now worth 120, we're actually refinancing we're actually getting a mortgage at £90,000. So the mortgage costs will be on the £90,000, not the 75. So this would go up to maybe about 380 would be a general guess. So obviously the annual net goes down. However, when we look at costs, which let's move these down, we need to work out the mortgage. Okay, remember on this one, we're not working out how much it costs us to do. We're just working out what the return is. So on this one, we've got a £75,000 mortgage. The reason being is we're trying to work out the money left in the deal. So like I said at the start, if we had £100,000 in our bank, we need to work out what will be in our bank after a refinance. So to work that out, we now need to add the new mortgage. So this, you could say old mortgage, I guess, which, as we've said, is £90,000. So the working out this is we do the deposit, add the old mortgage or debt, add the buying costs, add the refurb costs, take away the new mortgage. Okay, so that would leave £30,000. So before it was 45, we've now spent £30,000. So our bank is a little bit more, so the return has gone up. Not a massive amount, but a really nice amount, because the net out at 30 and the annual net has gone down. So bear that in mind. So that's why it's not a huge increase, because we've got a new, or we've got a higher monthly net. That rest stays the same. So as you can see, BRI, the same property, but on a Buy-Refurbish-Refinance, it increases in terms of the return. A couple of things just to pay attention to. However, though, if we spent a hell of a lot on the refurb, it's actually more than what the property's worth, that return would be a load lower. So when you're looking, because that's now gone up, so when you're looking at Buy-Refurbish-Refinance, it's really important that these figures need to come in. Let me just put that back. You need to aim for, hopefully, roughly around what you're refinancing a property for. That would kind of be an aim. If you go slightly higher, it's not the end of the world. That's still a good deal, but try to aim for around what you're going to refinance a property for. Bit of a rule of thumb. So yeah, and this hits over 10%, which is very good in sort of today's market. As I said, we've got in here just a general idea and the more detailed figures, as you can see. Okay, and this example hits a 9.8%. But yeah. Anyway, so that sums it up. Hopefully that's simplified. If you want to jump onto, I do offer strategy calls, and I will put that in the description. If you do want to jump on a bit of a call, send your details in and understand this a little bit better and go into a bit more detail, or you want to discuss the flip calculator to understand what returns, ignore this one, this is me messing around with numbers, but understand the returns and etc., and even on rent to service accommodation, then do click on that link, book a call in, and we can go over how you work it out in a bit more detail. And if you've got a property you want to work out the returns specifically, and you've tried this and you're struggling, again, book that call in. I'm always happy to help. And also, finally, if you are looking for a deal where you want it to hit a certain return, whether that's a standard buy-to-let and you're looking for 7-8% with a good strong yield, or whether that is a Buy-Refurbish-Refinance and you're looking for maybe around 10% or whatever figure that is what we do. We do have a sourcing division within Evolve. We can help. So if you are looking for a property, you want us to go out there, find it, have these figures. We've even got the refurb team of all property refurbishments, so we can help with every aspect of that. We've got the power team as well. So we've got the solicitors, the brokers, etc. So if that is something you're looking at, please do let me know. Be more than happy to help in that sense. So hopefully that helps. That is the buy-to-let and the Buy-Refurbish-Refinance simplified. If you've got any more videos, anything you want me to go into, please let me know in the comment section. But apart from that, please subscribe and please like the video. Cheers. Thank you.